Greetings, beautiful beings. Greetings. I hope that everyone who finds this message, that this message finds you well. So, if this is your first time on this channel, I am Tisha, and this is the channel for Conscious Creations. I have a company called Conscious Creations, where we create consciously, right? All sorts of things for mind, body, soul, wellness, metaphysical, offering metaphysical tools, as well as guidance on all of these things and why it's important to use these tools and why it's important to be mindful of what you put on your skin and what you ingest and all these things. And so I am making this video on the Gregorian calendar. It is Sunday, October 15th, 2023. And I'm making this video because some things came to me today. Because if you follow this sort of information, you may or may not be aware that yesterday was a new moon in Libra. Shout out to all the Librans out here doing this balance work. So Libra is about the scales of justice and balance, and so all of the zodiac signs also relate and correlate to different parts of the body. So in dealing with Libra, we're dealing with, we're starting to come from the upper dimensions into the lower dimensions of the body. And so when we're talking about the Libra scales, we're talking about the kidneys and being able to be in balance with the kidneys and making sure that your kidneys are functioning properly and all these things, right? But we're just talking about also balance in general. Libra also deals with relationships and not just romantic relationships, but all relationships. So your relationship to the earth, your relationship to people, your relationship to self, right? All of these things. And so yesterday, the sun and the moon were both in Libra. So we're literally talking, the solar and that lunar energy, night and day, masculine, feminine, all of these things in balance. So bringing together and bringing these things in balance. And so when you see these things happening on or in the as below realm, you see these things being played out in the stars, so to speak. So you see these things not only being played out in your own relationships, but you see it on the scale of the stars, right? The people that we call stars, because this is literally what's happening in the stars, as above, so below, right? And so, this week it made perfect sense while, the sun is in Libra, that we had this whole thing with Will and Jada, Jada announcing that they've been, not together since, I guess, 2016 or something like that. But things like that start to happen. You start to see those things in the as below realm because it's happening as above. And so this is a perfect time to be mindful of your relationships. This is also the season that they call cuffing season, right? And so this is all being played out on an astrological level as well. So I just wanted to bring you in and bring your attention to those things. So as you see these things being played out, you'll see what I'm saying. But the purpose solely of this video is because yesterday we also had an eclipse. Now, I'm not going to pretend to know all things there is to know about astrology and, these cycles and eclipses and all of these things. But I can tell you, based on my level of awareness and the things that I'm sensing and I'm getting, yesterday was a huge shift, because when we're talking about eclipse, and yesterday was a solar eclipse. So even though I'm in Maryland, and so I didn't see it where I am because it was raining for all of the day, but that's still another part of all of this stuff, because we're talking about these balancing of energies. So anytime I look at the rain, I'm looking at from the perspective of Mother Nature cleansing and clearing, right? So I look at the rain as not only a nourishment, because obviously the ground needs it, the flowers need it, the plants need it. As far as I know, no one drowned, right? But it allowed the earth to nurture, to water, to be in that feminine aspect, even though Libra is an air sign, which deals with communication and, the mental space and things like that, the air. We're still talking about the moon's energy and that feminine energy bringing in that nurturing aspect of water. So in the midst of all of that, the feminine energy still nurturing the earth. And in addition to the rain, other people may have gotten a chance to see the eclipse. And so with being a solar eclipse, we're literally talking about the sun and the moon being in balance with one another and being together, the coming together of these energies, the coming together and the eclipsing, right? So there's this period of darkness, this period of, I think it was maybe, I've heard that it lasted maybe 5 minutes. Again, I didn't see it, but I experienced it, I felt it, because I felt, and many of you I'm sure did too, but maybe you didn't know what was happening. But these things, they happen as above, but they also affect us where we are. And so even in your own consciousness, you may have felt and experienced certain things in your life being eclipsed out, certain things coming to the surface, right, to be released. And so that's the perfect time with the new moon, right, to be able to let go of all the things that are not going forward with you into, the next day, the next cycle, the next, the next life, the next whatever. And so one of the things that has been coming up a lot is this reprogramming, this rest, reset energy. And that's what these last couple of days, weeks, all of these things have been leading up to. So I'm just going to backtrack just a bit. So on Friday, this past Friday was Friday the 13th. And, shout out to all of the subscribers that receive our emails. I've been trying to do better with those, y'all. So, trying to send out emails more consistently, at least on a monthly basis, to really talk about the energies and what we can look forward to with those energies and how the energies are impacting things, and some of the tools and things to kind of prepare yourself for the present energy and the energy going forward. So I made a video, I sent an email to the Conscious Creation subscribers about Friday the 13th. Because Friday the 13th was a very, very powerful day. And I'm sorry, I hope y'all are following me on this, because, I should have probably started there, but here we are. So Friday the 13th was very, very powerful. And the reason being is because, one, the 13 in the tarot deck is the Death card. It's also the transformation card. So it's more than a physical quote unquote death. It's about transformation, right? And that's how I receive this information. It's a transformative energy. And so one of the things that has happened in the old world was this demonizing of the 13. And one of the things that came to me quite some time ago, maybe like 3 years ago, was the need to take back, so to speak, the 13, from the perspective that it's not to be seen as the devil, or it's not to be seen as this dark, evil, I'm gonna chase you, stab you, destroy your life, Friday the 13th, you know what I mean? That kind of energy. Not saying that that's not a part of it, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that, so to speak. And I hope that makes sense, because it really is about transforming. It's about transforming. And so it's interesting to me because when we're talking about the number 13, we're literally talking about the feminine energy. And the feminine energy is internal. So when you think about it, you think about our reproductive system as women. And our reproductive organs, or as they call them, the funkin' components, right? Because it's that funk. But the funkin' components, you know, on masculine and feminine. The masculine principle is external. The phallic is external, right? The feminine energy, the yoni, is internal. So when we're dealing with the feminine energy, we're talking about a creative force, a life-bringing force that is internal. Meaning it's not, you can't see it, right? You experience it, right? But you don't see what's happening internally to create life. And so it is darkness, because I liken it to not just a seed of a child being planted in a womb. And as that seed is planted in the womb, you don't see what's happening internally, right? And inside the womb, in the body, to nurture and nourish that seed, to bring that seed forth in the form of a human being, right? You don't see what's happening, but you know that something is happening because, you know, after the gestation period completes, you got a whole little human, right? So if you think about it from the perspective of something that we recognize every day, a tree, a plant, a flower, those seeds are planted in the soil, and they're planted in the soil, and the seeds may think they're buried because they're going in a state of darkness where they don't necessarily see. You can't see what's happening inside the ground, inside where that seed is being planted. All you see is the earth breaking apart when that seed comes out of the soil, right? As that seed comes out of the soil in the form of a plant, a stalk, a flower, a tree. You know, you see it as it's growing up, but you don't see the process. You don't see the process. And so this transformative process that we're going through is just that. It's a process. And you may not actually see all the things that are happening behind the scenes that are moving, directing, and allowing for the energy to be brought forth, allowing for that life, that transformation, allowing for that old part of you, or that part of you that is no longer needed for where you're going. You may not see or understand that shedding, but that's exactly what it is. You know, for all of my sisters who know and who go through this every month, right? As we are literally shedding, we are shedding parts of ourselves every moon cycle when we have a period. We're shedding, literally shedding aspects of ourselves, and it is released through the body in the form of blood. And so the 13 represents those lunar cycles that we go through. And so that part of that bloody, messy, not really sure what's happening, emotional, all of these things, those aspects of the feminine, that chaotic life force, all of that being misunderstood. And because it's misunderstood and it's not controllable, that aspect is not controllable, it is sometimes demonized, or it has been demonized. And so it's what we are experiencing is the rebirth of the divine feminine energy within us all. Because we all, as a part of being creators, have feminine and masculine energies in order to be able to birth, right? And I know that that was a very long, a very long narrative, but I wanted to explain to you all and to paint the picture, to explain exactly what it is that I'm sensing that's happening. And so as the rebirth of this divine feminine energy has occurred, what we are shedding and eclipsing out are those aspects that don't serve the divine feminine, that don't serve the highest form of that essence, of that energy. And so a large part of that is subconscious programming, because again, it's the subconscious that is primarily the driver, right? So when you, like being in a car, I am physically behind the wheel, but I know where I'm going because subconsciously and consciously at this point, you know, I've been here. So I know the route that I'm going to take because I've done this several times. But what happens is sometimes we have these subconscious, those things underneath, those programs underneath, right? Sort of like, I guess the programming, the maps in your car. If you don't know where you're going, there may be, you know, there's a GPS. There's a global positioning system that can tell you exactly where you need to go. Those are those subconscious drivers to direct you where you need to go, or to direct you somewhere, right? And so what's happened is we have been programmed to operate, to have a certain operating system, right? Our computers and the way that we compute information and calculate things had been programmed by outside influences and also some ancestral programming, right? So still having this particular operating system, no matter where it came from, there's an operating system that has allowed people to operate a certain way. And so what we are doing is we're being asked to clear and cleanse those subconscious programs that have led to you going a particular route, and you may not know why you're going there, what you're doing there, and what you are to be when you get there, right? And so it's like, yeah, so I'll leave it at that. I trust that makes sense. And so in clearing those subconscious programs, a large part of that is to know, one, what is the program? Two, where did the program come from, right? Three, how am I acting out this program? How is this program being manifested in my reality, in my actions, in my behaviors, right? And ultimately in who I am based on my following these particular programs, right? And then how do we clear that? And so one of the things that came to me today was using the crystal selenite. So if you are familiar with crystals, and even if you're not, look up selenite, Selenite, right? And selenite, you can get them, most of the time you find them in a wand. And wands help you direct energy. And so the good thing about selenite is it actually allows you to be able to clear your fields, to clear your space. So shout out to those who do Reiki. And if you do Reiki or some kind of energy clearing, put your website and your information in the comment section, so that, you know, people who may be looking for Reiki practitioners, for real Reiki practitioners, right, and energy healers. So, you know, put that information in the comments so that people who may be looking for that sort of information can find you wherever you are. But yeah, so using a selenite wand to kind of to clear the energy fields, and I'll get back to that in just a second. One of the other crystals that's very good for this is malachite. And that's Malachite. So malachite is a green crystal, and it almost looks like an amphibious, like an amphibian or a reptilian. It almost looks like, you know, like the skin or the scales, because it has this like swirly pattern. You'll see it. Both of these things can be ordered on our website at www.consciouscreations.live. Or of course, you know, if you have, you know, crystal stores near you or whatever, you can pick them up. But in any event, the thing about malachite that's really good is that it deals with the subconscious. So even when you look at the crystal itself, you can see that you'll see the layers of color in the crystals themselves and malachite itself. And so it actually helps to clear and to protect in those subconscious, you know, to clear those subconscious, that subconscious blocks, those subconscious energies. But also it acts as a form of protection as well. And so this is the reason that I recommend these two particular crystals, because these are the things that came to me as of today, right? Secondarily, they're also very good for this season, because today the moon is in Scorpio, which is about transformation, but it's also dealing with the reproductive organs. So some of the things that you can do in this energy is making sure that your hormones are balanced, because scorpionic energy, although the Scorpio as a zodiac sign is a feminine water sign, because Scorpio energy deals with the reproductive system, we're literally talking about the funk and dating component. So we're talking about the masculine and the feminine principles of creation. One of the things that's very good for that is fig leaf tea. And, you know, I have that available on my website, because when you look at the fig, and I've made videos about this before, the fig actually looks like the reproductive organs. And so that's what it does. It helps to balance the hormones and helps with the reproductive organs. So, sorry, y'all, we fell. Just the phone fell. All right, so let me put you back right here, because I don't have one of those little things to stick up there, because it annoys me. But anyway, so yeah, so fig leaf tea is very, very good for that. So that's also available on the website. What else? Making sure that I'm covering everything. Oh, yes. Coming through this eclipse, one of the other things that that is important to know is that some people may be feeling a mental imbalance, right? And this is in part why balancing the hormones is important. But I picked up on some mental disturbance after going through an eclipse. You know, there may be some mental confusion and things like that. Some of the things that you can do to deal with that is, one, rest and rejuvenate, and really respecting rest as productivity. Because if you are not well rested or in a good mental space, then it's difficult for you to consciously create anything, because your mind may be, you know, overly busy, frazzled, unsure, unclear. And this is where doing those clearings I was talking about with the selenite and the malachite is going to be very helpful. Other than that, you can also do mint tea. So I actually have on the website, we have a tea called Get Your Mind Right. And I created this tea several years ago for times like this, right? But Get Your Mind Right will help get your mind right, right? It is what it is. And so that's available also on the website. But if you need something now, just know that we're talking about mental, because remember, we're in Libra season, which deals with the air element, which is mental. So this is why you're seeing so many shakeups in, you know, the as below, like the governmental realms, because we are being asked to govern our mental, right? And to take back your mind, to use your own mind to think, right? And so one of the things that will help you to govern your mental is to have like peppermint tea. Peppermint is very, very good, you know, mental, right? And so the thing about peppermint that's very, very important is that it has a cooling and calming effect. Because sometimes what ends up happening is there's so much mental chatter that you can't calm, focus, and balance your nervous system. Because I told you all at the beginning of the year, this year was largely about being able to recalibrate your nervous system. Because this is a crown year, a 7-year, dealing with both the red and the blue and bringing those things together in a purple, you know, in purple, right? And that is dealing with the crown chakra. And so in order to balance those things, we have to bring those things together in like a circulatory system. And go back and take a look at the video I did where I think it may have been in January, I'm not sure, but it's a video that I talked about the balancing the chakras, and I introduced our chakra balancing kit with the chakra balancing oils, right? But yeah, it's important to balance your nervous system so that you can really take control of your own mental space and create consciously. But that does require you to be able to think clearly, to govern your mental, and to be able to speak in speak with clarity what it is that you are wanting to bring forth, what it is that you are wanting to manifest, right? So clearing subconscious blockages, right? Getting some selenite, getting some malachite to help to clear those subconscious blockages, really getting in touch and getting in tune with your own divine feminine energy, which is that nurturing internal, going internally and doing the healing work internally to heal your nervous system, to heal the subconscious blockages, to heal those things within that are stopping you from truly being able to exist and to live, to thrive in your best and highest self. So, you know, I trust that this makes sense. I hope that this finds whoever needs to hear it, whoever needs to receive it. I thank you all so much. Shout out to our 16 subscribers, you know, and for all of those who will join, you know, Conscious Creations and our journey to wellness and wellness of being and to creating consciously. So if you need any tools, metaphysical tools, you know, things for the body, mind, soul, let us know. So again, you know, we create body products, and I didn't talk about that. And let me tell you real quick why we do that. Because what you put on your skin gets absorbed, and I'll say this probably every video, what you put on your skin gets absorbed into your bloodstream. And once it gets into your bloodstream, it can potentially, depending on what it is, it can cause blockages, these very blockages that we're talking about. And those blockages can look like blood clots. They can look like pain. They can look like inflammation. They can look like hormonal imbalance. It can look like a number of things, right? Because you are absorbing these things into your blood. And so it is important to cleanse the blood. But even in cleansing the blood, and I'm going to make a video later about the beet juice that I make, that I do for blood cleansing and clearing, and just to generally help with blood flow. But in talking about the body and skincare, that's why those things are important, because you want to make sure that your energy is able to, your energy is truly able to flow, and that there are no blockages in your flow. Because when there's blockages in your flow, there's blockages in your creativity, there's blockages in your money, there's just blockages. And so you want to remove those. And sometimes it can be as easy as changing what you are putting on your skin. And so at Conscious Creations, again, we create consciously, mindfully of what it is that we are creating with. Now, we do our best to make sure that we use we use products that don't contain harmful chemicals. Now, we'll go into that in a different video and more detail in terms of the different body butters and all the different skincare things that we create for these purposes. But in any event, if you have any questions, you can always DM me on Instagram at consciouscreations.live. You can also send us an email at consciouscreationslive@gmail.com, and just follow us on the socials, all that good stuff, for tips, tools, information, and to see what other products that we're creating and things like that. So anyway, I hope y'all are doing well. I hope you are enjoying yourself and that you are creating consciously and intentionally. And until next time, love yourself well. You deserve it.